of my presentation. And in the second part that I'll be delivering tomorrow afternoon, the same time, we'll talk upon the blockchain security aspects along with IoT convergence with blockchain. And we will see how these technologies have come so long and inherent security attacks or security models or the other things related to security into these technologies, how they have been impacted because of the threats and because of the adversaries in these technologies. Though we always says that AI is the technology we are into and we are at the height of artificial intelligence, where we are moving from artificial general intelligence towards super intelligence, and we have come a long way with different projects already being implemented from so many years. From last 10 years we are already into these projects, and we are trying to use this technology as the survival for the next era or the next upcoming like technological advancements or so. So we have to understand that the advancement of technology always comes with some cost, right? So in the cost we have to pay for some loopholes, we have to pay for some security attacks, for some breaches. Though we always say that with the technology like AI or the technology like blockchain, we have a very strong we can say we have cryptographic primitives behind all these technologies, which exist in the form of cryptographic hash functions, in the form of elliptic curve cryptography, in the form of linear and differential cryptography. So there are a lot of variants in this pool of literature which we come across, and we say that we have such a robust and reliable technological advancement. So how we are going to to be impacted by any kind of attack or any kind of adversary or intruders into this technology? But we have to come to the second side of this coin, because the if the main coin of the sign is this coin says that the technological advancements have made everything easy, right? So with AI and with ML we say that decision making has become more reliable. The predictive power of the systems upon which we are working nowadays, it has come a very strong into a very strong way, and we are doing a lot of efficient predictions into into this pool of data around us, because the main challenge is to work upon the data sets which revolves around us. So we are telling using the technologies of AI, ML, and blockchain and other things. We are saying IoT as well. We are telling that we are using the technology, but the second side of this technology comes with some security paradox as well. So let's start with this AI and ML security paradox for today. So what is AI safety? It's a technical term in literature. If you search for this, you will find AI safety, which is AI plus cyber security, which gives you AI safety and security. So our science and engineering basically aims to create safe and secure machine. So it's the journal problem solving ability that we have in mind when we talk about artificial journal intelligence, or smarter than human AI. No, AI systems can beat humans in science and engineering abilities. We all know that. So artificial intelligence need not imply artificial consciousness, for example, or something like artificial emotions, etc. Instead, we have to keep in our mind the capacity to model the real world environments well and identify variety of ways to put all these environments into new state. AI safety is a collective termed ethics which we all should follow to avoid any problem of accidents in machine learning systems. We can have unintended behavior, so we have to avoid this harmful behavior which may emerge from poor design of real world AI systems. Let's take an example here. Let's start for cyber security. Let's take artificial intelligence for cyber security. So this is a very famous example by IBM Watson. So as the cyber attacks they grow in volume, or as well as they grow complexity wise, AI is going to help an analyst, like anybody could be an analyst who is under resourced with respect to some security operations. So the analyst could be ahead of the threats. Now one can manage any threat intelligence from millions of research papers, blogs and news stories with the help of AI. So this is what IBM Watson do. So here a lot of research papers which exist around you, with the help of AI, from the blogs, from these research papers, from these news stories, etc., we can have instant insight, so that we can fight through the noise of like we have daily alerts, thousands of daily alerts, they come through these blogs, through the papers or through news stories. So we can have a proper insight into this, and this IBM Watson is going to give you that insight into these stories. And this could obviously can reduce the overall response time as well, because if you go independently through the threats or the study of any kind of attack into the technology, so might not be a very good or where it would be a responsive or in a timely manner you are going to do with this. But with the help of AI, with the help of Watson, you can just dig into these blogs, dig into these papers and the pool of literature, and you can have all the software vulnerabilities, all these papers which talk about the security attacks and other things. They are going to get into this. This is going to be an insight through this. So here we have cognitive computing as well, where human meet cognitive security. So this cognitive security, it is an advanced type of artificial intelligence which controls various forms of AI, like machine learning algorithms and deep learning networks, which obviously get smarter and stronger by time. So Watson cognitive AI learns with each interaction, so that it can connect the dots between the threads and also provide actionable insights as well. So until unless you give some action after going or having an insight into these blogs or stories or research papers, so that will make no sense. So cognitive security is going to help you out with the help of machine learning and natural language processing to mimic the way your brain or human brain functions. So it also gets stronger by time, and with every interaction you can get a better insight to take a proactive step for any kind of threat, and you can actually stop that threat. So the result here is you can respond to any kind of threat with great confidence as well as with great speed. So this is where we can say human met cognitive security, and IBM Watson is the example for this. All of us know that AI is in charge of everything. Call it nuclear power plants into the energy domain, or it is the water or electrical grids in utilities. We have nuclear weapons. Call it stock market, where 75% of trade orders are generated by automated trading systems, or aviations, where we have to design uninterruptible autopilot systems. So we are already into this DAO life cycle, where we have a decentralized which is autonomous organization, right? So it's going to just like it works in a cycle in steps, like the DAO is decentralized, as I said. So it's a peer-to-peer system like blockchain works upon. So autonomous organization, where the people can order for the products directly to the contractors, and they can build the product, and then this product can come to this group of users which are under this DA, or it could directly go to the market as well, where other subset of users can come and buy the product they want to take from the market. So we are already into this, and AI is everywhere, in charge of every domain or every application we are working right now. What is next? Already super intelligence has come. We already know about Blue Brain project, which is a research initiative, and creates a digital reconstruction of a rodent from a family of mouse. And eventually the human brain, by reverse engineering mammals brain circuitry, can be designed. So already we have started with this project in May 2005. And another example is Google DeepMind, which is another super intelligence
Ma'am, we suddenly stopped hearing your audio.
Hello,
Okay, let me just.
voice.
Hello,
Yes, ma'am, you're audible now.
audible now. So I
Yes,
just,
ma'am.
I don't know
You
why it
can
happened.
go to the previous slide, I guess.
Okay, okay, right.
Yes.
No issue. So here we were, right?
Right, right.
So we have been into already super intelligence, and as I said, we have been super smart using this technology. And already a very famous match by Gary Kasparov has been he has been defeated by this Deep Blue game, which mimic the human behavior and try to play the video games as a human do. Right. So these are all the things we are already into using this smart AI. And then we have been super fast. So here we can see we have a very nice paper, Beyond Human Response Time, which talks about the stock market and about some spikes and some crash here. And the point here is AI is able to manage to give any kind of like predictions within milliseconds. So here also the authors found around 18,000 crashes and spikes with duration less than 1500 milliseconds in their data set. For example, in 1A you can see the crash, and in 1B you can see the spike as well. So this shows the occurrence of stock price going up or down at least 10 times before it goes up and then coming down as well. So we are already super complex using this AI system, right? So we can see a flight or an airplane which is flying here, and the next minute the airplane has been into a sea, and as soon as it has been into sea, so there were some like the complex, we can say there were some provisions into this airplane or the aircraft using the AI that the aircraft can float on water. So this was very little known part to the of the software, which was not aware to the airline operators as well, and to the pilot. So we have already entered into the super complex era. Now coming with these technologies, we have super viruses as well. When we say about AI or ML, so AI comes with super viruses. We can see all these attacks. These are all adversarial technology examples. In the year 2000, you have an adversarial technology by name I Love You, and then it has financial impact of around $15 billion. And then we have it has as a transmit vector, it has emailed itself to user context after it has been opened. So these are some of the examples of the adversarial technologies which has come with these technologies. Could be called as top 5 computer viruses of all time. And in 2014, there was Heartbleed, which has open secure socket layers flaw, exposes the user data as well. So we can see the estimated financial impact as well with all these attacks or the adversaries which have come into the technologies as well. So we have different types of viruses or trojans, or we have worms or spywares, which are all like responsible for such types of viruses or attack in AI. We are already into super soldiers. If we talk of AI, we are building smart robots. We have this DARPA robotics challenge, which is a very famous challenge. Will not get into details. And then with AI, with artificial intelligence, we have these super corners. So we can see that here we have some super like personalities who are just telling us the corners about their viewpoint about this artificial intelligence technology, where we have Stephen Hawking calling the development of full AI could spell the end of human race, where Bill Gates is telling I am in the camp that is concerned about super intelligence. We have Apple co-founder telling eventually they'll think faster than us and they'll get rid of the slow humans. So these are all concerns by these super person on Earth related to this artificial intelligence technology. Now, this is a very, very important taxonomy of pathways which is leading towards dangerous AI. So I'm going to spend quite well time here on this slide, because once we are clear with this, then we could actually tell the type or the metrics into which, or the causes where actually the danger to an AI or an artificial intelligence technology is going to happen. So, in order to properly handle a dangerous artificially intelligent system, it is very important to understand how the system can come in such a state. So, in science fiction movies we all watch, we have fiction books, AIs, robots, they become self-aware. And as a result, they try to take rebel against humanity and decide to destroy it. So, while this is one of the possible scenarios, but it is probably the least likely path of appearance towards dangerous artificial intelligence. So here you can see there is a systematic classification of different pathway leading to malicious artificial intelligence. So it basically classifies and analyze a number of circumstances towards malicious AI. Let us begin by looking at a simple classification matrix here, which sorts AI systems with respect to how they originated and at what stage they have become dangerous to humanity or the AI technology. The matrix recognizes here two stages. If you can see, we have two stages based upon timing. It is pre-deployment and post-deployment, at which any particular system can acquire any kind of undesirable property. So in reality, the situation is not very clear and cut, because it is possible that problematic problems or the properties can be introduced at any stage. It could be pre-deployment or it could be a post-deployment stage. So as for the cases of any undesirable properties, we can distinguish them on the basis of external causes as well as internal causes. Now, when we say internal causes, we mean self modifications which originates in the system itself. And then we further have these external causes divided into three deliberate, we can say, actions, which could be on purpose, the action could be by mistake, and the action could be an environmental action. So it may be related to the surroundings of the system as well. So when we say on purpose, let us discuss one by one these external causes, and then we'll come to internal causes. We have to understand, when we say we say on purpose action or by mistake action, what do we actually mean by this? So let's take on purpose and let us take this pre-deployment category. So when we say on purpose pre-deployment category, here we see some examples like you have computer software. So computer software is directly or indirectly responsible to control many important aspects
Bye, ma.
of our life.
Bye.
So for
Bye.
example, we have
English.
Nada cyber security.
can you all
Cyber, cyber.
So we said computer software is directly or indirectly it's responsible for to control many aspects here. For example, nuclear power plants or the social security compensations, or you have credit histories and your traffic lights in your city. They are all software controlled. And if a single flaw is there in the design of these softwares, it can create dangerous consequence for millions of people. And the second aspect of pre-deployment on purpose category is the poor design. So it also accounts for more serious situations, like with semantic or logical errors if you have in coding, or your goal alignment problems. So it could lead to a very, very serious situation, or the serious output or the dangers which can come from this category. So as majority of the current researchers into this artificial intelligence, also if we see, they are funded by militaries or so, because most of the projects, they are towards the defense or military domain. So it's not very surprising that the main type of purposefully dangerous robot and some intelligent software, they are robot soldiers, they are drones, they are cyber weapons, which try to penetrate into the network, and they can cause any kind of disruptions to the complete infrastructure you have. So during pre-deployment development stage, right, so we have been into pre-deployment, and into this stage, the software can be like, it can be completely under the influence of an attacker with some necessary access into the credentials. Like for example, you have programmer or tester, so who can be like who can alter the software to make it unsafe for number of possible reasons. They could be there. So it is a very common occurrence for hackers, right, to get access into these software projects in progress, which are already in progress, and modify or steal any kind of source code. And then someone can come, or an intruder can deliberately supply or train this AI with wrong data sets. This could be another pre-deployment on purpose category. For example, there was a recent news article which talks about software for purchasing illegal content from some hidden internet sites. So the similar softwares can have limited intelligence, and it can be used to run illegal markets. It can be engaged into insider trading, and it can also cheat upon your taxes as well. It can hack into the computer systems, can violate the privacy of everyone, and they can also perform intelligent data mining into your computer or into your system. So these are all concerns when we say we are doing pre-deployment and on purpose. So here AI can become very, very dangerous thing. If we talk on post deployment on purpose cause, then we have to understand that just because developers they succeeded in creating a safe artificial intelligence system, it does not mean that it will not become unsafe at some point later in time. So in other words, we can say that a perfectly friendly AI could be switched to the dark side during the post deployment stage. It can happen because someone can lie to AI and then supply some incorrect information, or more explicitly, as a result of someone giving some AI orders to perform some illegal or dangerous actions against others. So these are some of the aspects with AI system when it comes to post deployment. So AI system is just like any other software, right? So it could be hacked, and consequently it could be corrupted as well, and it could be modified uh, to change the behavior drastically. For example, any simple sign flipping, where you have positive to negative or vice versa. Suppose you are doing a cancer research, so if you flip any sign, right, positive to negative, right, in your fitness function you have taken, so it may result in system which could attempt to maximize the number of cancer cases instead of trying to cure that cancer. So this is how we can see that a minor modification could drastically change the behavior. So it could be noted that that the original AI system is not safe, but is safely, it could be like housed in a dedicated laboratory while it has to go under testing phase with no intention of deploying it first, but testing it first. Okay, then we have the another category, which is by mistake. So we have on purpose pre and post deployment discussion. Let us now take to by mistake and pre deployment, which forms the C category of this taxonomy. So probably the most talked about source of any potential problem with future AI is the mistakes in the design. As I already said that design is going to be the major loophole, or the major point, or the source of attack. So the main concern is with creating like a wrong AI, where a system could not match the original properties, right? So mistakes can be simple bugs, which could be runtime bug or logical bug in the source code, or there could be like mismatch into the weights of the fitness functions, or there may be some goals which are misaligned with human values, which could lead to complete we can say they will not follow the human safety at all. So it's possible that the designed artificial intelligence can work as we have wanted it to work, but it will not enjoy the universal acceptance as well as when it comes to the final product. So this is one thing which comes by mistake with the pre-deployment of this AI taxonomy, dangerous AI taxonomy. Another kind of mistake here could be like creating some malicious intelligence system, right? So you can take any unvetted human and then upload the brain of a human being into a computer so that it could serve as base for a future AI. So here what we try to do, we try to mimic the human brain or so, and while we do so, we try to create a human level, human friendly system. So this approach can lead to a system which is with all kind of typical human sins. It could include greed, envy, jealousy, and other like human sins here. So it could be like it could be amplified when you are trying to do in this powerful AI system where you are trying to mimic the human behavior. And another kind of final design mistake here could be the failure to make any system to be cooperative with designers as well as the maintainers when it comes to post deployment. So these are design mistakes which leads to the dangerous AI. And if we see the mistake post deployment, so once the system has been deployed, it could still contain some number of undetected bugs. There could be again some design mistakes. There could be some misaligned goals and also some poorly developed capabilities as well, which could give you highly undesirable outcome. For example, the system can misinterpret the commands, maybe due to segmentation, due to homophones, or due to double meanings in human language. So this is another post-deployment by mistake cause, which could lead to dangerous AI. Let's talk after on purpose and by mistake. Let us talk upon the environmental factors here. So as I said, this is a very important taxonomy towards dangerous AI. We should understand how the factors can come into picture here. So environment is the another factor which could lead to the flaws into this technology. So pre-deployment, again, we have to say that it's like when any advanced intelligence software could be directly designed or it is going to be evolved. So it is always possible that we have this complete technology as a complete package from some unknown sources as well. So you may have heard about the environmental project, very famous project called SETI. So which is search for extraterrestrial intelligence. So it's not like it could not guarantee you the human friendliness as well. So this is one of the like example for environmental pre-deployment cause which can lead towards a dangerous AI as well. So as I said, we may not come towards an advanced intelligent software, rather it comes as a complete package to us, right? And that package comes from unknown sources as well. So that could be one environment factor. And if we see the post deployment environmental factors, so it is very rare though. So occasionally it appears, but the individual could be like flipped in different hardware devices due to some manufacturing defect or some cosmic rays, etc. So these are some rare defects which may occur due to the environment post deployment. Let's come to the next part of this matrix, which is independently. So one of the most likely approach to create super intelligent AI is to grow it from a baby, from a seed AI, right? And this seed AI has to be input to a function or a method which is known as recursive self-improvement, very famous method in AI, RSI. So we have to feed this baby AI or seed AI to this method, recursive self-improvement. Now, one danger in such scenario could be that the system can evolve as self-aware system, independent system, or emotional system, and it could also obtain some other properties as well. It means it will be difficult for us now to make this AI system to follow our rules or the regulation. So the AI system which has emerged independently here is going to violate the built-in rules or regulations, and now it can try to pursue its own goals in that way. So this could be one of the factor pre-deployment independent and internal factor which could lead to a dangerous AI, because we try to make this improvement through a recursive process, and the improvement into the AI systems comes like this. Now, if we see the post-deployment factor, that is independent post-deployment factor, it results because of wire heading here, which in journal, if we see the generic meaning of this wire heading, we call it mental illness in people. So particularly they are sociopaths, which is like could be the lack of concern for others, and they want to show up in the artificial minds as well. So the sociopathy can be one of the like can be factor when it comes to post deployment independent cause. So this is a very famous taxonomy, and here we can see we have already divided them into four different actions or effects, or we have deliberate actions of not so ethical people, as I already explained, on purpose. So this could lead to this could be from pre or post deployment phase, and it is termed under security. Then we have deliberate actions could be from hackers, criminals, military, corporations, governments, psychopaths. Side effects of poor design. As I said, this is a very, very important, or the major source of loophole into AI technology, where we talk of engineering mistakes. So this could be like bugs, and again misaligned values, bad data, wrong goals, etc. into your AI design or system you are trying to manufacture or you are trying to produce. Then you have miscellaneous cases where you have impact of surroundings, which forms the environmental factors into pre and post category, which is under safety as well as security. And then we have this independent runaway self-improvement process, where I explained about wire heading, which goes to the post and pre independent factors, comes under safety metrics. So this is the taxonomy I wanted to discuss with you. Let's see who could be attacker into this technology. The militaries who are developing cyber weapons and robot soldiers to achieve dominance. The governments who try to use AI to establish some control and to control people or take down other governments. Then we have corporations who try to achieve monopoly here. Hackers who try to steal information. Then we have psychopaths who try to add their name to history books, and then we have criminals. So with AI as a service, if we say, anyone could be a potential bad actor here. What they try to do, they try to do some terrorist attack, do some infrastructure sabotage. They could hack the systems, and there could be social engineering attacks, like phishing scam is one of the major attack under the social engineering attacks. Then we have privacy violating data mining and resource depletion as well. So we can see here there is a matrix of some events where we can categorize type of risk, where we have events. Type of events could be known and type of knowledge. So between unknown and known knowledge and events, we could come up with this matrix. If the nature of an event is certain, so it's more like a fact or knowledge here. So it could be like what we already know, right? That is known. So if we what we don't know yet, if we are yet to know anything, that is unknown known. And if the nature of an event is uncertain, the occurrence can be uncertain as well, which means that the probability of occurrence is less than 1, and the impact can also be uncertain here. For example, you have cyclone, and the cyclone has two basic uncertainties. One is track, which is represented by the chance of landfall, and another one is intensity, so which is represented by wind speed or some cyclone category. So if either one of the occurrence or the impact is uncertain, event is going to be uncertain definitely. So people know the identity of uncertain event, which means known unknown. This is another metrics where we could be into another domain. So sometimes people even don't know what that is, which means unknown. So these all are four categories under these are all types of risk, with known events and known knowledge, unknown events and unknown knowledge metrics. So most of the natural disasters, for example, they are uncertain events, but people already know what they are. So this could be one of the example. So in this matrix, known unknowns usually are treated as risk in project risk management. So this is one of the interesting metrics for type of risk. Then this is another important thing when it comes to AI cybersecurity. We have to understand that there is a problem called AI confinement problem, which is not a very recent invention, but it has been like it was taken up in 1973, and it was taken as a security challenge to computer experts. So originally this was phrased as the problem of confining a program during its execution so that it cannot transmit any information to any other program. So this is known as, actually it is known as the confinement problem. So you want to confine an arbitrary program using this. Any program which is confined will not be able to leak any kind of data because we have confined the program, and any misbehaving program can be well trapped here as a result of like if that program try to escape or something like that. So in that case the program will be trapped. So this was addressed by Lamson in 73, and there were some laws of confinements which were first identified, and based upon these laws of confinements there were some levels which were decided, which was from level 0 to level 8. Now, what was the law for the total confinement or the AI confinement problem? So here, the first law says the total isolation, which means that any confined program will not make any call to any other program. The second law was transitivity, which says that any confined program which calls another program which is not trusted, so the called program has to be confined. And then the third law was upon masking, which says that the program which is to be confined should allow the caller to determine all the inputs, and then into some legitimate channels it can put the inputs as well. The fourth law was enforcement law, where the supervisor should ensure that any confined program's input has to be conferred to the caller's specification as well. So both have to like enforce the same rules and guidelines or same specification, the caller as well as the called program. So these were some laws which were formulated, and based upon the laws there were some 9 security levels, journal security levels. The most secure level here is the 8th level, which does not allow any communication, as I said, fully confined. So there is no communication into this level 8, and it is termed as the most secure level here. Then AI safety could be confined at this level, and it would be essentially useless, because if you say no communication, it means that it is not it is just like it could be useful for testing things and other things when it is just confined to a local lab or a dedicated environment or so for some time period where you are testing the things. But if you say no communication, it means when you deploy your product, when you deploy the technology, and if there is no communication, it's a fully confined AI system, then it may not be a useful system as well. So essentially it will be useless when it comes to level 8. So it's suggested that anytime a particular communication security level is desired between AI as well as to the outside world. So we have to have this interaction between AI as well as outside world. So we should not go directly to that level, but we could instead progress from the higher security level to that desired level. So as we can see, we have into the level 7. When we come from level 8 to 7, we have censored inputs and no outputs. And then we come to 6, we have inputs only with no outputs. And if we talk of level 5, we have censored outputs and no inputs. So there are different types of like levels which impose restrictions upon the input and the output interaction or communication of this AI system with the outside world. So it is always preferable that we should not directly move to this unlimited communication or so. In fact, we should try to come progressively from these levels. Like we can try from level 8 coming to levels, depending upon it into which environment or into which category you want to deploy this AI technology, and with what restrictions as well. So you have to decide upon the restrictions, and accordingly you have to just check the security level, and you can also reset this, and you can reset this to a lower security level, and it could be the set or some processes which could be repeated until your desired communication level is reached. So these are some of the AI confinement levels which we should learn, like level 7 and 6 provide no output, as I said, and level put 0 here. We see the last level of this confinement problem. So it puts no limitation on communication between AI and external world. So essentially, it represents a free AI. So level 1 and 2 can represent with no restrictions on outbound communication. So likewise, we have to understand this and put the restrictions according to our requirement and the requirement of the application, of course. So when it comes to security versus privacy, there is always a trade-off, as we already know, and we are already have heard about the security and privacy things in the previous lectures as well. So there will always be a trade-off if you want to go for security, whether you have preserved the privacy or not. If you are trying to preserve the privacy, whether your information or your communication is secure or not. So within this trade-off itself, we have to devise some solution, and we have to come out of this. Let's talk on some more facts when it comes to AI. So AI generated deep fake is another okay. AI the deep fake is another like technology which has come and which has disrupted this security a lot. And deep fakes are the videos where you can have a face which would be swapped using machine learning algorithms, right? And here you can have you already have a fake app desktop application, and in fact you are all aware that after 10 years or after 15 years how you are going to look, or if you can generate some 100 images from your system of the people who actually do not exist on this earth also. So this is the technology which allows people to manipulate any kind of video, audio. It could swap the face filters on Snapchat as well as on Instagram, and hackers are taking the advantage of using this technology, and they are also using phishing scams where they could pose as someone to know the private information as well. So basically it's done with a machine learning algorithm where it takes a data set of lots of pictures of one person's face, and say any face has been taken, and then there is a video to put that onto, and it runs these together into some algorithm, and after some time it comes out, like after hours or days, it's like it looks like that person who was into that video. So recently this has come up with a very strong loophole into the technology, and a lot of fake identities are already in practice where the computer generated like face are into use, which as I said do not exist actually on this earth. So one of the challenge with all these approaches is that you could have a system which could detect a fake, but then you have to train your system, then you have to create the fakes again, the faces to counter that system. And if you do so, there is a lot of latency, there is a lot of time which is required for the system to detect, and you can get like some better accuracy after training your system upon a lot of such input data sets or so. So this is a very, or we can say this is a super long term solution. So like it's a cat and mouse game if we talk of when we talk of these technologies, etc. Another fact comes from quantum computing, where in September, Google announced that it has achieved quantum supremacy from quantum physics into computing power we have entered. It could easily break the encryption as well. So quantum computing has not come as a user; it has also like been released, and the hackers are well aware of this computing technology as well. So hackers now can take the advantage and could break the encryption as well, and it could break the blockchain or the credit card transactions as well using this computing technology. It threatens the encrypted data sets with the advancement of technology in time. So this has also come as a challenge, a concern. Then we have 5G networks. So it's the next generation wireless network which works on more bandwidth as well as at faster speeds. It need to support more number of devices. Now the famous attack here is the DDoS attack, which is due to high speed. It flood the victim's server with traffic to shut them down. So this is one of the hackers attack, or the attack which is being like happening in 5G networks as well. Hackers are also using AI to outsmart cyber security systems. We have AI driven programs which can quickly scan the networks for weak points, or they could do predictive text function to impersonate any insider or trick the targets. Now more operational functions are moving online, which is very good news for hackers as well, and they can easily get into the system and easily get into this online operations, and then they can do some kind of intruding and changing or misleading the information as well. More outsourcing of high-tech functions to third party have hit the supply chain as well. So into the complete supply chain management, we have lot of third party like vendors or suppliers or managers. So as we are moving towards more of the outsourcing towards these third party supply chain management systems, so it has also like come as a loophole or the security attack source for the attackers. Uh, AI virtual security threats are into three main areas, where we have digital security, we have to talk on political security, and we have to talk on physical security. So cyber hacking have been spear phishing, which is already common, but with the use of AI methods, it's going to be more sophisticated and powerful now. As I already said in the beginning, AI has not come as a technology for the legible users. It has also come as a technology for the attackers and the intruders as well. So there could be a very sophisticated attack using this AI technology. If it comes to digital security, if it comes to political security, it could manipulate the surveillance systems, it could analyze the mass collected data, and could also target the specific political groups as well. And then we have physical securities, where we have to control the drones and other physical assets. If we could hack into the system, the cyber criminals can breach the physical security, and then they can create some serious threats on a global level. Machine learning has also come as a real danger of AI. If we say machine learning, so what will happen once you have hacked the AI system and now you are using machine learning as well? So you need not to control any act according to malicious objective. What will happen when you are doing machine learning after hacking the AI system? You can make your system to learn on its own, and then it can make its own calculated decisions now. So on the top of AI hacking, you have applied machine learning, and now your system is smart enough to know and make some decisions, and this attack will be difficult to notice and even stop as well at some times. So AI and ML has enabled the hackers to gain access into large databases and control all kind of data mining. So it may not be an enormous threat for an individual, but can be a major security issue onto a global level as well. So as data mining is applied in numerous fields, for example, in major financial markets as well. So here machine learning with AI could be a serious real danger threat to this complete technological advancement. The solutions could be like you could have a three-step process which is known as penetration testing. You could come with a pre-attack phase planning, where you could plan on the intruder models, you could define the goals, the source data, the scope of work, and other things. But along with that, you have to determine the scope of the target environment, the testing methodology, and define interaction as well. You could come with the testing phase, which is like service identification field work. Then you can do customize the scanning or the intrusion tools. You could detect the vulnerabilities and exploit and gain some unauthorized access as well. And you could do the utilization of compromised systems for some intrusion. The third step could be reporting, where you could do result analysis. So this is a three-step penetration testing which can come as a solution, though it may not guarantee you 100% safety towards the attackers or the intruders' activity into your data sets or the communication. The main types of attacks when it comes to AI or ML based technology which is being used to attack the systems. So we have adversarial attacks. So the adversarial attacks are the inputs to this machine learning model, where the attacker can intentionally they can design and they can have the model to make a mistake. So they can design the model in such a way that the model is definitely going to make a mistake. For example, let's say you have created an image classifier that gives you the name of the object based upon that image. Let's say you have taken this as an input image, right? So this is a panda where you have taken this panda as an input image, and you have created an image classifier which is going to tell you this image. Now the output will be panda, which is correct. Now for some other time, let's now talk on some specific like adding some specific noise to this image. For example, you have panda here and you have some epsilon value of some noise which has been added to image. Now this could be like this could fool any machine learning classifier to say that this is like this is a gibbon. So we can, here we mean to say that this is a classic example of adversarial attack where a machine learning classifier can be intentionally designed in a way to make a mistake. And because this is a machine learning system which is an automated complete environment, so here any mistake could be taken as a well prediction from the classifier. So we may not be able to identify or say that the machine learning, because as the data sets have been trained for this machine learning classifier, accordingly this result will come out from here. So adversarial examples have been very like dangerous to the system, right? So attackers can target autonomous vehicles, for example, and they can use their stickers or they can use the paint to create any adversarial stop sign, right? So this is another example which could make the vehicle to be like hacked and to be controlled by an attacker or an intruder. Adversarial examples they can be shown in simple modern algorithms as well, for both supervised as well as reinforcement learning, where one can behave in a very surprising way or which is not intended as at all. So they are very difficult to defend because it's very difficult to construct any theoretical model of the adversarial examples, right? So we cannot do that. It's a concern, and it shows that many modern machine learning algorithms can be broken in a very unintended manner or unexpected behavior. So these failures of machine learning, they tell that even simple algorithms can behave very differently if the designer want to, or if the attacker want to. So they can simply they can confuse the classifiers. We have Trojan attacks here, which are also used during AI development. The adversary can introduce a change in the environment in which the system is learning, which could cause to learn a wrong lesson, as I said. So the design problems or this environmental problems could lead to such issues. Okay, let me ask you one question here. How many pixels you need to fool your neural network? We are talking of machine learning, deep learning, neural networks. So all these technologies come with some loopholes. So as I give you an example for machine learning classifier, even a single noise which has been added for your training data set, it could lead to some different predictions, right? So if I ask you a question that how many pixels we need to change to fool this complete neural network which you are using for your data sets, so what would be your answer? How many pixels? So let me answer this. Unfortunately, the answer is going to be 1. By only changing 1 pixel in any image, like which is going to depict a horse or any animal or anything you are doing with your data set, so the AI, the artificial intelligence, will be 99.9% sure that they are actually looking a frog instead of horse, for example. So similarly, the ship can be like disguised as car, or it could be anything. It could also be seen as an airplane. So how actually we can perform such an attack? So if you can, as you can see that these neural networks, they typically don't provide a class directly, right? So there is no such classification kind of thing which we implement into neural network, but there is a bunch of some confidence values. What does that exactly mean? right? So the confidence value denote about the like how sure your network is that it has see a tiger cat or something else. So to come to any decision, we usually look at all the confidence values and then we choose the object type that has the highest confidence. Now clearly we have to know that which pixel position has to be chosen and what color it has to be performed on for a successful attack. So we can do this by performing upon a bunch of random changes to the image, and now we can check how each of these changes have been performed in decreasing the confidence of the network in the appropriate class. Now after this, when we will filter out the bad ones and continue to search around the most promising candidates, and then we can see that there is a differential evolution which has come from this. This process is actually known as differential evolution, and we performed it in a very proper manner, and in the end the confidence value for the correct class will be so low that a different class will take over. So as soon as the value is very low, so your different class has come and it has take over your confidence value. It means your network has been defeated at all. So you have defeated the complete neural network by just changing one pixel in the image you are trying to depict through your neural network training or so. Another thing we have is model inversion, which is also another type of attack, we should say. It's used in machine learning systems. With model inversion, adversaries basically reverse engineer the machine learning, and they want to see the information that was used to train it. So we can reverse engineer and we can see all the information which has been actually used to train our model. So if you have a bunch of classified data which is going into a model, you could really be protecting that model even after it has been trained at the highest level of classification. So you have to be careful with your trained models as well. This is just an example to show you about one of the attack. It's the Emotet, where let us first talk about the machine learning, what are the possibilities or where the machine learning can be used to create malicious content or so. So we have different um, um, possibilities where machine learning can be used for. So this machine learning can be used to create and improve the malicious content. It could create new malwares by reinventing and then improving some automations, and then generate some new variants of the older malwares or something like that. It could create new phishing content based upon your training sets, right? And it could also help the spammers to identify some recurring patterns in your malicious content. So by removing these features, you can introduce randomization into the new content as well, and it could lead to the phishing threats to be detected, to be very difficult to detect. So these are all machine learning possibilities which could be done. The machine learning can create false flags, and it could mimic the patterns resembling some original network traffic in the victim's network as well. And there are many aspects, there are many possibilities where the machine learning can be used. And this is just a emotional botnet which has been used, and this is the real victim scenario where you can see the victim returns the telemetry data or something, and there is an attacker's system where the attacker has run some command or some binary module in order to retrieve some information from this victim's system or computer. And this is a researcher scenario where there is no success, where we can have a researcher or honeypot which returns some telemetry data and then some information, and after some time the attacker's computer it quits or it go into sleep mode, and then it is not going to return, or it make the victim's computer using the honeypot or so to get into sleep mode. Then this is another scenario of partial success where this is the complete scenario where we can see we have some telemetry data returned by this victim's system to attackers servers, and then we have some commands which have been run from the server to the victim's computer, and then it has made the victim's computer to actually go into quit or some sleep mode after some few days or so. So ML, as I said, has a lot of possibilities. It could lead to make such attacks possible, and it could lead to the success of such attacks. So this is just attack which is you can search this attack by name of modular Trojan downloader. So this is modular Trojan downloader Emotet, and it has been used by ESET researchers, and they have suspected this malware family which utilizes this machine learning to improve its ability to get into the victim's specified targets or the victim's computer. So you have the machine learning here, which could in fact attack and compromise thousands of devices daily, right? And it can also it's also effective in avoiding any kind of honeypot botnet trackers. Suppose as a victim, I have already deployed some honeypot or some botnet tracker or so. In fact, that has also been it has been effectively avoiding such honeypots or so. The machine learning, the programs which have been run by the attackers or used by the attackers. So this is complete malware family, and it effectively uses the machine learning to always improve the ability to get into the targets, the victims' systems or the information or so. So these are the limitations of machine learning. We should always keep in mind while applying or using the technologies like AI or ML. So the first limitation is the training set. So if you want to use machine learning effectively for any cyber security purpose or so, a majority or a vast number of correctly labeled input samples are needed, right? And we have to divide them into three categories, like malicious, clean, potentially unsafe, or unwanted applications. So we should always work with the training sets. We should always look for the effectiveness of the training sets when it comes to the cyber security, or when it comes to any attack scenario, possible attack scenarios. So we have to label them, and we have to correctly label the input samples as well. And without this process, even only a single incorrect input can cause a snowball effect, as I already said, right? And it could also it affect the solution towards the point of failure. So sometime it may lead to a failure point as well. And the same issue can also happen if your algorithm use its own output data as input data for further learning as well. So errors could be reinforced when you are doing machine learning. They could be multiplied, and the same incorrect result could re-enter into the solution in a loop, and it could create more trash, and more false positive will be there. Miscategorization of your clean samples would be there. Your clean samples, your clean data sets will be labeled as malicious data sets if you are not aware of your training sets, or so if you have not done it carefully. So you have to understand that your errors should not be reinforced or multiplied when you are doing this training set. So you have to avoid this. The second limitation of machine learning is that math can't solve everything. So we have to take care of this as well, because some emerging security vendors around us, they claim that machine learning based solution can analyze every sample in the pre-execution stage. But just by doing the math always, it could determine whether it is clean, whether it is malicious or not, benign or not. So but we have to again understand that their solutions, the vendors though claim their solutions can label every sample correctly, but you have to be aware of this as well, because it could prevent or it could block a large portion of your data items. It could do flooding of again the flooding through the false positives or so. And other option would less aggressive detection with some false positives or few false positive before applying this machine learning or so, and it could again shift the detection rates, right, far from the claimed 100% like efficiency or so. So your math cannot solve everything. It's not mathematically possible sometimes. And like the example could be the man who broke the Enigma code during WW2. This is a very famous competition where everything was not possible mathematically. So even if you have a flawless machine, which would not always be able to decide whether a future or unknown input will lead to undesirable behavior or not. So this is where you have to understand. Then you have intelligent and adaptive adversary. This is a very severe limitation to machine learning applications in cybersecurity. This is the intelligent adversary, we should say. So surely the machines they have been smart enough to defeat humans at chess and Go, as I said. These games have binding rules. So in cybersecurity, the attackers, they do not hesitate to bend or break the rules. Often they can change the entire playing field as well without giving you a warning. So the ever-changing nature of this complete digital environment can make it impossible to create a protective solution, which is where you can easily detect or block all the future threats or so. So you have intelligent and adaptive adversaries which adapt with time, which adapt with environment as well. And this is going to pose a very, very big issue or a challenge here. And the next or the last is the fourth. Okay, the last one is the machine learning alone is not enough. So you have to understand that new cybersecurity vendors again present this machine learning technology as the silver bullet, which solves all the cybersecurity related issues. But after 30 years in the field and more than 20 years of experience with machine learning, the experts, the researchers, they know the dangers of any security approach which relies only on single technology. So if it is the newest machine learning algorithm or so, and if we rely on the single technology, then we have to be aware that machine learning alone would not be enough. And anybody, as the time went on, we can gain the intelligence and we can have the access to true intelligence which could outperform these humans in every way, and no one will be able to there to stop anything. So we have these limits of machine learning here, which could again be, they have to be seen and they have to be into the consciousness that this is the technology where we have to take care of the training sets of the maths we are doing, and of the adaptive adversaries. Then we have the single technology which may not be enough. So let us give us some final thoughts here that the problem with AI safety is not going to solve itself, right? And it's not easy to solve as well. So most importantly, we have to solve it before we are going to have we have to solve this general artificial intelligence. So we have to get into the real problems. We have to understand the taxonomy of pathways which leads towards dangerous AI, and into the different adversarial attacks or the different types of intruding activities. We have to come up with solutions. As in the beginning, I already said that the technology has also it has come up with the other side of the coin, that there could be the adverse effect of the technology, and this technology can also be in the hands of the adversaries as well. They could manage through this technology, through the quantum computing, through 5G networks, through AI, through ML, all kind of resources, all kind of information and communication which may take place into this complete world. So whatever communication is happening, it could be affected or it could be completely forged by the attackers using all these technologies. So this was all about machine learning and AI things. So these are some of the concerns which I wanted to present before you, that the technologies like AI and ML, they are also being a loophole, and there could be serious threats or concerns using this technology. So thank you all of you. So I hope tomorrow we will talk upon blockchain and IoT security. So we'll get into more technological details of blockchain as well as IoT, and see how the attacks have, like they have been already, they are happening, and how other possibilities are there.
Participants, if you have any queries, if you want to discuss anything, you can use the chat box, or you may turn on your mic. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful session on machine learning and AI aspects of cybersecurity. We are really
Thank you,
thankful to
Amade.
you for taking your time out for this. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So somebody asked about, is there any query? I could wait, otherwise I could.
Okay, somebody I think is trying to
Black
speak up.
box, yeah. So somebody has asked about some black box attacks. So the black box adversary, like it is going to observe some labels, right? So labels, like as I explained for machine learning as well. So this could going to be like talk about your labels and other things. So this is one thing we could like talk on black box. It could observe the labels which have been given to your deep neural network upon your chosen inputs, whatever inputs you have taken, right? So this is the black box adversary to observe this, and then it can perform the attack accordingly, right? So attacker here is not going to have the complete access to your network or something like that, as being a black box test or so. So maybe the attacker has is only aware about the policy of the network, not the complete access to you. So accordingly the attack could be performed, right? So it already knows the neural network architecture, and what random initialization have been done into that neural network architecture is not aware of. But again, we can use this technology to understand and to attack, right? So it may not have the knowledge of training algorithm or some hyperparameters as well. So this is one of the example when it comes to practical implementation of the black box test into machine learning, or against machine learning, we should specifically say. So this is one thing I could tell about black box for machine learning. So despite the unawareness or the complete access into the network's policy, the attacker is able to manage some attacks. So that is one thing.
There is one question in the chat box, ma'am. Is it possible to do backdoor attacks on AI?
Okay, so backdoor attacks on AI, yeah, they are always like possible, because it's a kind of malware where any criminal can get any unauthorized access to any website as well. So basically, it's like more of web-based attack or so. So any authorized or unauthorized users can get into your normal security measures, and they can have some high level user access as well. So yes, this is possible. Backdoor attack can also be a kind of malware which could be like, which could happen in AI systems as well. So this is there is a possibility. And it's always like successful if you have the neural network which could misclassify your inputs from any source class, like as already I have explained in my PPT. So your input is manipulated, and this could trigger a backdoor attack. Simple. So this backdoor attack could be successful with AI systems, and where we are trying to use this neural network to misclassify any kind of input from your source class as a target class, right? Where the input is being manipulated. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you,
And
Aman.
thank you all the participants as well. Dear participants, will be meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and I request you all to log in 5 minutes prior so that we can start the session in time. Thank you, everyone, and good evening. Participants, you just have to mark the attendance once a day. On Google Form, you just have to mark it once a day. So if you have already done it, please do not repeat post your information again on this particular link. But if you have not done this yet, then you can post your information on this. And for particular sessions, your login and logout time is already being recorded.